Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really personal story of healing. We're going to look at how a handful of powerful, even clinical concepts can help someone weave a life that feels fragmented and broken back into something whole, something hopeful. So let's get into it.
You know, this quote right here is really our starting point. It's such a powerful idea, isn't it? The narrative we tell ourselves about ourselves literally shapes the world we live in, the reality we experience every single day.
But what if your story doesn't feel like a neat, tidy book? What happens when it feels just like this, like pages scattered from a fire? It's chaotic, it's painful, but maybe, just maybe, there's a tiny thread of hope running through it all. We're going to follow the journey of a man named Bob, whose life felt exactly like that, and see how he started to piece those pages back together.
So our journey has to begin by looking back. But hold on, this isn't about getting stuck in the past or just reliving pain for no reason. It's about finding a brand new perspective, a different angle. It's about finding that thread of meaning that, believe it or not, has probably been there all along.
The very first step is to just organize the story. And there's a clinical term for this. It's called narrative reconstruction. It's basically the process of taking all those chaotic, jumbled memories and putting them into a structured, coherent timeline. And this does something huge. It starts to reduce the shame that gets tangled up in trauma, and it helps you get back a solid sense of who you are.
For Bob, this whole process was deeply spiritual. It wasn't about revisiting those painful moments alone, but with a guide, a compassionate presence. And this quote just says it all. The wounds don't magically disappear, but their meaning completely changes. They stop being these sources of shame and they become witnesses to your survival, to your strength. You see, trauma completely shatters our sense of time. It leaves memories all over the place, totally disconnected. One minute you're a kid hiding with a magazine while your mom is sick, then you're a teenager grieving a friend, then an adult facing just devastating loss. This narrative work helps put those moments in order. It creates a coherent story of survival, not just a random list of bad things that happened. And of course, a huge part of any story is connection. But what if your earliest connections were shaky, inconsistent, or just not there? You learn that connection itself isn't safe. Attachment repair is that slow, steady work of healing those deep, early wounds. It's about building an internal sense of safety and security so that you can finally truly feel like you belong.
Okay, so once we have a new way of looking at the past, the journey naturally turns to the present. This next part is all about developing real, practical skills to navigate the here and now, to actually master the moment that you're in.
I absolutely love this metaphor Bob uses. He thinks of his thoughts like TV channels. Channel 6 is just static and noise. It's the anxiety, the shame spirals, the bad memories on a constant loop. The whole goal, using tools from CBT and mindfulness, is to learn how to consciously pick up the remote and change the channel, to switch over to Channel 5, a place of peace, of just observing, of being grounded.
Now, you might be thinking this sounds like what we talked about before, but it's a little different. Narrative reconstruction is like organizing the chapters of your book. Trauma processing is about bravely going into one specific, really painful chapter with support and healing the intense emotions stored there, so they finally lose their power to just take over your day.
And when those emotions feel like a tidal wave, grounding is everything. For Bob, that looked like focusing on a steady, calm presence, symbolized by this quote. It's about finding an anchor, something that lets you feel those heavy emotions without completely drowning in them.
You know, we talk about setting boundaries with other people all the time, but it turns out we have to set them with our own thoughts too. Cognitive boundaries are all about protecting your inner peace. It's the ability to see a thought starting to spiral and to gently but firmly say, nope, not right now, we're not going down that road today.
So, once we start to feel a little more stable, a little more grounded in the present, then and only then can we really start to look forward. This part of the journey is about building a future that's filled with meaning, purpose, and real connection.
This is the alchemy of healing. It's a process called meaning-making. It's where you start to find the why underneath all the hurt. And something incredible happens. Your grief isn't just grief anymore. It becomes understanding. Your suffering can actually become a calling. Your story stops being a weight that you have to carry and instead becomes a map, maybe even one that can help other people find their way.
A really powerful tool to help build this future is called cognitive reframing, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. Think of it like changing the lens on a camera. You're not changing the facts of what happened. That's impossible.
but you are actively changing your interpretation, the meaning you give to those facts.
And wow, look at this. This shows you just how powerful that simple shift can be. These are right from Bob's journey. A thought like, I failed, becomes, I fell into grace. The painful feeling of, I'm too much, gets reframed into, you're my handiwork. It's a total transformation, from a story of shame to a story of acceptance and hope.
And that brings us to the final part of the journey, integration. This is where we take all the pieces, the rewritten past, the mastered present, and that hopeful future, and we weave them all together to create a life that feels unified, whole, and connected.
An integrated life is built on small, daily practices. It means intentionally looking for joy and gratitude to literally rewire your brain for hope. It means using creative outlets to express the things that words can't touch. And, so importantly, it means reconnecting with people. Because healing is not a solo sport, it absolutely happens in community.
This slide just brings it all together so well. It's the whole framework in a glance. On the left, you've got the concept. In the middle, you see the specific wound that it helps to heal, like fragmented memories or abandonment. And then on the right, you see the new strength it builds in its place, like identity, security, or purpose. You can really see how all these pieces work together.
And at the end of the day, all of this work, all these concepts, they lead right here. This is the goal. An integrated life is not a perfect life, not by a long shot, but it's a life where all the different parts of you are finally working together in harmony. A life where you feel regulated, hopeful, and just fundamentally grounded in love and purpose.
So, to make this super practical for anyone listening who's on their own path, here are 3 really simple steps to keep the journey going. First, just notice. Notice a recurring thought or feeling. Second, instead of judging it, just ask a kinder question about it. And third, choose one small hopeful action. That's it. It's this gentle cycle of awareness, curiosity, and movement.
So we'll leave you with this question to carry with you. Your story isn't some old book collecting dust on a shelf. It's a living, breathing conversation. If you could sit down with your story today, with real kindness and curiosity, what is the one question you would gently ask it?